on the next Train Roll On. When it comes to MoMRail, the more branches they build across Independence, the more problems they solve. And with an operation on the verge of sinking, time to visit Uncle Larry.
By the power of NIMBY rails, I'm gonna tear up your town. So when those yellow lights get late, better find another way around. Train roll on.
Running this operation, I learned two things already. One, you really got to put some fire in that hide with those graphic designers when it comes to your logo. And two, all these little trams running up and down the inner city ain't gonna pay the bills.
This train is bound for Lawrence.
Hell, I thought serving the eastern suburbs and making my way up and down all these arenas and so forth would be a boon, and sure enough it was, but remember, I got a $31 million a month loan I gotta pay off, and only so many hundred millions or so more to go. These high-speed ventures are big risks, but this one was probably one of the easier decisions to make, I gotta be honest with you. We're gonna take a visit to Uncle Larry's house. Larry, of course, being the colloquial form of Lawrence, Kansas. Yeah, Rock, Chalk, Jayhawk. Go ahead, say it. I hear that college is more of a basketball college than a football college. What say you in the comments? But it took a whole lot of haggling with a whole lot of counties to make this happen. I already got in with Wyandotte with that one branch that I took over to Strawberry Hill. That's just kind of dipping the toes into the creek. But dealing with Johnson County and Douglas County and Leavenworth, Leavenworth. That's where our widest open spaces were. Otherwise, this whole thing would have been a subway, and I would have never made this happen. I had to tell those farmers in South Leavenworth County, hey, go plant your crops somewhere else. Train roll on, baby. We're going to Lawrence. And according to an article I read on the Pitch about 10 to 15 years ago, Lawrence kept hogging all the concerts from Kansas City. All the up-and-coming bands would be stopping there instead of Crown Town. Then 96.5 The Buzz started playing alternative rock and taking a bunch of chances and putting a bunch of bands on the map, middle of the map. That's right, middle of map, M-O-M. That's how we get MoMRail, right? And of course the Kansas Turnpike Authority, they've been jumping my case all day, all night, and all month. You're hurting our toll booth. What the hell's wrong with you? You know what else is hurting your toll booth? K10 highway. Now, you know what your speed limit is? 75. You know what our speed limit is? 150. You know how long it usually takes for me to get from downtown KC on down to Lawrence? Maybe I want to catch a game over at Allen Fieldhouse or something? 45 minutes, and that's K10 highway. You know how much it costs in this train? The amount of time rather than money? 16 minutes and 26 seconds. And if you had a few touch-ups, you wanted to get your hygiene straight, you don't have to look in that pull-down mirror anymore. And carry a mirror in your purse, or you look up, there's a mirror right there, a little strip you can pluck your nose hairs, get your eyeshadow nice and bold. Make sure you still got your gold teeth.
Now arriving in Lawrence, Kansas, the transfer point for the West Lawrence Line, Lawrence Spine Line, and regional rail service to the Southwest Kansas City suburbs. Please stay on board for continuing high-speed rail service to the Peacock and Manhattan, Kansas. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
The great part about the route we chose, we don't have any pesky small towns to deal with. Not that many homes to destroy.
Now arriving in Lawrence, Kansas, the transfer point for the West Lawrence Line, Lawrence Spine Line, and regional rail service to the Southwest Kansas City suburbs. Please stay on board for continuing high-speed rail service to the Peacock and Manhattan, Kansas. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
And here we are, folks, what some locals like to call the People's Republic of Lawrence. Have you seen some of the breakdowns lately, politically speaking, with Douglas County? I mean, hell, Lawrence takes up the bulk of that county anyway. And I wanted to make absolute sure I didn't drop you off in some big random location before we turn around and go back to Kansas City. All you gotta do is walk 8th Street, and you're there. You're at the party, folks. And one great thing about Lawrence, you have all these state streets you got to go through. Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New Hampshire, New York, Connecticut, until you get to the big one, Massachusetts. Hopefully it'll ease your troubled mind that you're in Lawrence, not in St. Louis. Or at least that's what a member of my family told me when he lived out there a few years ago. Stay away from those state streets.
This train is bound for Indian Hills.
Now, you really didn't think I was going to just drop you off in Lawrence and say, well, happy trails, my work is done here. I mean, it would have been a hell of a hike and a hell of a bike for students at UK, or is it KU, to get on back to school, get on back to campus. I mean, people underestimate how big Lawrence really is. I mean, I think it's flirting with 100,000 people, right? And either way, you get a bite to eat, you don't have to dodge all that narrow traffic and scooters running amok, looking for an insurance check.
The next station is campus. Campus is your next station. Exit here for the University of Kansas, the Watkins Museum of History, and South Park. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
Rip right through Tennessee Street, see if I care. Well, maybe the frat houses will, because I took all their parking.
The next station is campus. Campus is your next station. Exit here for the University of Kansas, the Watkins Museum of History, and South Park. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
Seems like I'm making a spine line for every small city I venture out into. I mean, in Belgium alone, you got this tram line serving towns of like 10,000 people, 40,000, 30,000 here and there. That old Cranberries album, everybody else is doing it, so why can't we?
This train is bound for Indian Hills.
And you thought KU was the only college game in town in Lawrence. Nope, we got one more to make. Heading down to a tribal university. Had to deal with Haskell and the Indian Nations and so forth in order to get this thing through. But you think they'd want to break from riding around those rough Kansas streets? I think so. About two directions realistically this town could really grow. South and west. And like I keep on saying in all these videos, I go where the people are. Speaking of the people, if you like what you see here on Train Roll On, don't forget to turn that thumb blue and maybe do a little subscription. We post episodes Wednesday, high noon Eastern.
The next station is Indian Hills. Indian Hills is your next station. This is the end of the Lawrence Spine Line. Exit here for Haskell Indian Nations University, Broken Arrow Park, and the Haskell Cultural Center and Museum. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
Should we make a little juke move? So long, O'Reilly Auto Parts. So long, Checkers. Get out of our way.
The next station is Indian Hills. Indian Hills is your next station. This is the end of the Lawrence Spine Line. Exit here for Haskell Indian Nations University, Broken Arrow Park, and the Haskell Cultural Center and Museum. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
Don't worry, we made those people an offer they couldn't refuse. They're somewhere else, just not in our way. Just trying to move people around, and you know what? It's for cheap, too. This line one way all the way to here is only $1 to get on board. 5 kilometers down the line, $1.25, $2.25 to get over here.
This train is bound for Lawrence.
And look at what I still left standing on the other side of Louisiana. You got a pet store, you got Triaki, Dunkin' Donuts, Walgreens. Douglas County, you can still go ahead and get your clerical duties done, do your civic duty, get pizza, Japanese, McDonald's, and gasp. You can actually rent a car where I stopped you. I thought of everything here on MoMRail. And by the way, how do you like our new logo? Pretty cool, huh? Sound off in the comments below. And then let's say somebody from Haskell University was dating somebody from KU. Now they're only one train stop away. And this time we bypassed Lawrence High School, so none of these little wannabe hooky players can do any train hopping or train tipping.
The next station is campus. Campus is your next station. Exit here for the University of Kansas, the Watkins Museum of History, and South Park. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
Getting run over by our trains hurts about as bad as getting hit by a minivan. Don't risk it, y'all.
The next station is campus. Campus is your next station. Exit here for the University of Kansas, the Watkins Museum of History, and South Park. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
Now that all the cars are pretty much off at Tennessee Street, you can walk or take a bike there. You get done with Lawrence High, come on down to KU. You're just down the road. God, I love this little town. And of course I painted all my trains blue, because heaven forbid with the color guard in this town, you ought to be seen blue. Wouldn't be caught black or yellow, or I don't even know if the drama club ever did the Diana Ross version of The Wizard of Oz yet.
This train is bound for Lawrence.
Seems like you pretty much be safe in red, unless there's some Crippin' Blood situation I don't know about. Definitely not purple. Don't try to be the medium or the middle or NIMBY. That's the Wildcats. Red and blue makes purple, but red and blue also makes the enemy. I was laying out these trams, I done learned the hard way that you just don't mess with that lover's quarrel right there. But I'm thinking about extending this little high-speed rail line? What do you think? Shouldn't be too far to Topeka and then over to Manhattan and over to Salina and all these others.
The next station is Lawrence. Lawrence is your next station. This is the end of the Lawrence Spine Line and the transfer point for the West Lawrence Line, regional service to Shawnee, Kansas, and high-speed rail service to Kansas City, Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, and Manhattan, Kansas.
Stick your pickers out the window long enough, Lord knows how many sunflowers you get. Oh, please don't do that. Keep your hands and your feet and your objects inside the train like a good boy or girl of non-binary. Come on. Oh, I almost forgot. We got one more tram line. See, Lawrence is big enough for two. It's popular enough for two. Like I said, we go where the people are, and the people aren't just concentrated in one of the two campuses. You got all the suburbanites trying to find a way around just in case their car breaks down.
This train is bound for Wakarusa.
On 6th Street, that lit street, we're trolleying away. Thank you, you're far too kind. Try the special gummy bears. Oh, that's right, you can't. Hey, at least you could place a bet on when the Kansas basketball team's going to make up that deficit from 2018. Yikes. Kinda still feel for that basketball team. Almost reminds me of high school that I grew up in. Had a player die in the beginning of the school year. They rallied to a 6-3 record. They're headed to the playoffs, and then boom, right at the last game, the news breaks out that they had an academically ineligible player, and that they had to forfeit all their wins. Ended up 0-10 that season. Phew, the roller coaster world of sports. Hell, I remember a couple years before that, on the 8th grade football team, the coach was like, "Hey, you want to play on my team? You got to hit the books. No lower than a B average." Back when that whole dumb jock trope was still a thing. Folks would be knocking each other out and aiming for the head and doing bounties, and ends up affecting the rest of his life.
The next station is Sunset Hill Deerfield. Sunset Hill Deerfield is your next station. Exit here for Centennial Park, the Lawrence Country Club, and the neighborhoods of Sunset Hills, Perry Park, and Deerfield. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
Her life, too. I've seen some of these women's football leagues out there. No offensive line, you better run for cover.
The next station is Sunset Hill Deerfield. Sunset Hill Deerfield is your next station. Exit here for Centennial Park, the Lawrence Country Club, and the neighborhoods of Sunset Hills, Perry Park, and Deerfield. Thank you for riding
Thankfully,
MoMRail.
the good neighbors over Deerfield and Sunset Hills, who had to fight tooth and nail for the right to place this thing on 9th Street, can now hop a tram on down to David Booth for a football game if they wanted to. One stop in Lawrence, one stop on campus, boom, you're there. It's only $1 to board.
This train is bound for Wakarusa.
Now this stretch I had to do a little twisting and turning. 3 families got displaced because of me. Had to take out a little bit of parking for a Walgreens down the road, but hey, I had to get to 6th Street pretty soon. 6th Street, that hip street, Can't serve Lawrence if you don't serve all the people. And the great thing is, Douglas County gave us the right-of-way, so did the city of Lawrence, up and down 6th Street. So while all these crossover SUVs and Hondas and Ford Tauruses and stuff are banging drums on their steering wheel and out of frustration because they're trying to wait for a light, we just cruise right on through. Funny what VIP treatment you can get when you rub the right elbows. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Brian.
The next station is Wakarusa. Wakarusa is your next station. This is the end of the West Lawrence Line. Exit here for shopping and dining in and around the Quail Run and West Lawrence neighborhoods. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
Yeah, it's the end of the line for now, but watch out in 2030. We might have to make an expansion. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
The next station is Wakarusa. Wakarusa is your next station. This is the end of the West Lawrence Line. Exit here for shopping and dining in and around the Quail Run and West Lawrence neighborhoods. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
But not this time, though. We stopped here. You could pretty much see, eat, and drink the world. And now all these Free State high school students that want to jump the train because they're sick of school, maybe they want to catch a ball game downtown Lawrence, now you're just 3 stops away. Come on, it ain't that far to walk.
This train is bound for Lawrence.
And you know what I forgot to tell you guys? How much it's costing me to run these 2 trams up and down Lawrence. That little spine line we just ran through between the 2 campuses is costing me $550,000 to run. At least I'm getting 1.3 million per quarter out of this thing, approximately, give or take. That puts me at about 750 grand. You divide by 3, that's $250,000 net profit per month. I'll take it. This West line, on the other hand, cost me about 700 grand to run. 1.4 in fares, 700 profit. Divide that by 3, it's a little less than $250,000. But hey, I'll take what I can get. $400,000 a month. Ka-ching.
The next station is Sunset Hill Deerfield. Sunset Hill Deerfield is your next station. Exit here for Centennial Park, the Lawrence Country Club, and the neighborhoods of Sunset Hills, Perry Park, and Deerfield. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
And I didn't even get to how much I'm making on this little line from Lawrence to KC.
The next station is Sunset Hill Deerfield. Sunset Hill Deerfield is your next station. Exit here for Centennial Park, the Lawrence Country Club, and the neighborhoods of Sunset Hills, Perry Park, and Deerfield. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
Anybody else need to stretch out a little bit down at Ludland Park, maybe let out a little energy? Go ahead and do it. These trains run every, 8 or 9 minutes or so? So even if you miss one, you're not too far from another. That's what I like about this MoMRail thing. You serve the people, you forgive them time and time again for missing the train, but you keep things moving, right?
This train is bound for Lawrence.
And, now this might cause a bit of a fuss here, especially that long stretch between Sunset Hills and downtown. We don't have an emergency button that folks can just use and abuse, and the emergency ends up being I want to stop at Pizza Hut instead of I need to go to the hospital. Thankfully, these security folks that we pay here on the train know a few basic things. We got CPR, we got first aid. They can even body slam a few troublemakers if they start getting out of hand. Because here's the other thing. From Sunset Hills to downtown is only going to take you about, 4.5 minutes? You can go listen to a Jill Scott song and chill and cool your bones. Maybe open the fridge and grab one of our free Cokes or Sprites or whatever you want to drink. That's what that $1 boarding charge is for. 4 kilometers, so it's only another $1 to ride. Now, you know what a can of Coke costs nowadays? $1.50. Bottle of Coke, in some stores, they'll charge you $2.50. But I remember when $3 used to be the ballpark.
The next station is Lawrence. Lawrence is your next station. This is the end of the West Lawrence line and the transfer point for the Lawrence Spine line. Regional service to Shawnee, Kansas, and high-speed rail service to Kansas City, Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, and Manhattan, Kansas. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
And I also remember the days when nobody was begging for my services.
The next station is Lawrence. Lawrence is your next station. This is the end of the West Lawrence line and the transfer point for the Lawrence Spine line. Regional service to Shawnee, Kansas, and high-speed rail service to Kansas City, Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, and Manhattan, Kansas. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
So as you can see, I got you. I got you coming south and west. I got you coming all the way out here. I got you commuting between KC and Lawrence, and you know K10's going to get backed up. All that development they're doing out in DeSoto.
Incoming train. Please step 3 feet away from the tracks.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, that Panasonic plant, all those workers have got to go somewhere. I don't know, maybe I should run a little line out to DeSoto and Eudora and everything else in between. It's really going to come down to how much of Douglas County could really stand me. Not to mention the outskirts of Johnson County. I already had to contend with those folks to get this far.
This train is bound for Kansas City.
Everybody say bye, Uncle Larry. And how much does Uncle Larry keep giving me per quarter because I keep coming around? Well, let's see. It's already costing me about $11 million to run this darn train. All the rails and everything, maintenance, running costs, all said and done, $11 million. But guess how much fares I'm getting per quarter? $47 million, ladies and gentlemen, in non-binaries. -11 plus 47, grand total $36 million per quarter divided by 3 for a grand total of $12 million on this leg alone per month. Hallelujah! And on top of the $500,000 I'm already getting from those 2 trams, 12.5 plus 12.1 from all those other lines I showed you, that's 24.6. Still got a few more million to go, but hey, That's a hell of a chunk. I'd say this ride was a success. What do you think? Now, how much has it costed to get there? This is where I hit you with the dark stuff. It does cost $10 to board, plus you got all the per kilometer fees. Quarter kilometer, you're at about 60 kilometers. $15 on top of that, so that's what, $25 a ride? But get this, you're going twice as fast as you would on the Kansas Turnpike or K10 highway. You're not using any gas, you're not trying to dodge anybody else on the road, and you're getting from Kansas City to Lawrence in 16 and a half minutes flat. I just might expand this line all the way to Topeka and Manhattan and all the others. I love you, MoMRail. I love you, Kansas. I love you, Missouri. And I love all those rail advocates that I could use to muscle my way through all these streets. We're conquering them one by one. St. Joseph, then Lawrence. I mean, who's next? Lee Summit, Olathe, Warrensburg, Maryville? Ha! The possibilities are endless. I might make it after all.
Arriving in Kansas City at Stockyards Hy-Vee Arena Station. This is the transfer point for the Kansas City-Kansas Loop, the Kansas City-Kansas Branch, the Great Connector, the West Metro Loop, the Northwest Line, and the Southeast Line. Exit here for the American Royal, Hy-Vee Arena, the West Bottoms and Stockyards districts, and the trailhead of the Rock Island Trail. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
In the meantime, can anybody recommend anything for motion sickness? Not soup, though.
Now arriving in Kansas City at Stockyards Hy-Vee Arena Station. This is the transfer point for the Kansas City-Kansas Loop, the Kansas City-Kansas Branch, the Great Connector, the West Metro Loop, the Northwest Line, and the Southeast Line. Exit here for the American Royal, Hy-Vee Arena, the West Bottoms and Stockyards districts, and the trailhead of the Rock Island Trail. Thank you for riding MoMRail.
It's already lunchtime, too. Between the Stockyards and West Bottoms, I'm bound to find something good to eat around here. Let's see, there's Golden Ox. Whew, that's pricey. Amagani, no, that's a cocktail bar. Chef J's, that's across the highway. Hey, I could just take the tram downtown. What a concept.